This podcast is part of Another Happy Studios,
the home of podcasts with passion.
Hello and welcome once again to Talking Pictures Podcast. I'm your host David and joins me as always my co-host Brian. Brian, how are you today?
David, the big man must be cooking something upstairs.
Why is that?
Because he created us to create this podcast.
Yeah.
Just in the perfect coordination plan for us to release an episode on said podcast to be numbered 128.
Oh, that's very good. I didn't even realise that.
I am, taking what I can get because essentially it's not episode 28,
yeah.
but it's episode 128.
Wow,
so.
That's actually, man, I'm proud of us. Fair play. So before we kick things off, we wanted to make a little bit of an announcement. We are delighted to say that we have joined a podcast network. So Talking Pictures is going to be now a part of Another Happy Studios. So going forward, there's going to be no real changes to where you get your podcast, except if you listen on YouTube. That's going to be available now on the Another Happy Studios YouTube channel. So if you're looking for the link to that, it'll be in the description of this episode. But otherwise, there's not going to be any changes for you as a listener. We're still going to be available on your favorite podcasting app of choice. So wherever you get your podcast, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere, we'll still be available. Yay!
I'm clapping on my knee because I'm holding my mic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a big step for us, I think. We were getting a little lonely on YouTubes, but it's nice to be working with the lads on this again.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely missed having a crack with them. I missed them on their podcast. Like, as a non-Doctor Who watcher,
Yeah.
I've been stuck looking for other podcasts.
Yeah, to fill the void.
Yeah. Most particularly in the film and TV world. And I feel like it's a bit too vain to just listening to us. You know?
Oh, I wouldn't listen back to us. Jesus Christ.
Oh no, I listen back to us all the time. Oh yeah.
So Another Happy Studios will feature us, Talking Pictures Podcast. But as well as that, there's Still Got Legs, a Doctor Who rewatch podcast, and The Fishing Trip Files, a Gavin and Stacey rewatch podcast. But otherwise, there's not going to be really any changes to us here at Talking Pictures. And to keep in the spirit of that, Brian, have you got a trailer of the week for us?
I think this is the first time I would say he should have played a different real life person. With Jeremy Allen White playing Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
I said to you, he looks more like Billy Joel in his prime. Deliver Me From Nowhere, Bruce Springsteen biopic.
You like, I don't have much to say on it. The most intriguing thing I found was after I'd watched the trailer, I saw then people talking about it and they said that, oh, that is him singing in the film. And so I was like, really? Because I genuinely did think that was Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
I'm not a big Bruce Springsteen fan. I wouldn't really know much of his music, but I was impressed by that. And I'm impressed by the cast. The cast is what's more so drawing me into it than the story itself.
I watched the trailer again actually this morning, and yeah, of course you have Jeremy Allen White, but Paul Walter Hauser, Jeremy Strong, what's the Jewish actor's name?
David Krumholtz.
That's him. And Stephen Graham. That's actually a really good cast as far as, oh Jesus, another one of these fucking biopic on a musician.
Yeah.
Well, like
your favorite genre. One of.
It's not that my favorite genre. It's just it's a collection now. Now, if I actually put together like 5 or 6 or 20 different musician biopics on a letterbox, which I did, all the posters seem to be similar. It's them holding their guitar or
there's a certain formula
or piano, and they're all sort of like silhouetted or playing to a stage. Like, I show you these few pictures, you can see a bit of a theme.
There's Bob Marley looking to the crowd. There's, what's his name? Bob Dylan looking to the crowd. There's Freddie Mercury looking to the crowd. Is that Elton John looking to the crowd? And that's Bruce Springsteen looking to the crowd. Yeah. And then Elvis, he's not looking to a crowd, but he's in a similar kind of pose to all of them. Yeah, they definitely give off the same, you know what you're going into. You know?
Yeah. I'm glad that's coming out this year because we were nearly halfway into this year and there was no announcement for the release date of the movie. So it's good to see here, and hopefully it turns out to be very good. I'm a Bruce Springsteen fan. I like his music. It's just another one ticked off the list and everyone's going to be talking about. I thought it was a good trailer.
I'm going to say I'm looking forward to it, but it probably wouldn't be on, and it wasn't on my most anticipated, but I look forward to it. I hope I enjoy it more than I enjoyed the Complete Unknown. I wasn't a big fan of that. I don't think we ended up talking about it, did we?
No.
But, and I want to put this on the record as well, right? We're recording this 22nd of June 2025. I bet we've got an Avatar trailer coming soon. The fact that's coming out at the end of the year, we're due one soon.
We are due one soon.
So
very, very soon.
I want to just put that on the record because I have a pretty good record of saying we're due for this trailer soon, and then it's released within the next week. So I could be wrong, but I think we're due an Avatar trailer.
You're a betting man now.
I'm a betting man. We're not here today to talk about, what's it called?
Deliver Me From Nowhere.
We're here today instead to talk on our 128th episode about 28 years later. So a film, a legacy sequel, which is something that we both quite like. We both enjoy a legacy sequel. And it's a legacy sequel to a horror franchise, which we haven't had one in a while. I think the last one might have been Halloween. Was there any other legacy sequels recently? Not that I can think of.
Not that I can think of,
No.
but we do have, I know what you did last summer coming out.
Oh, we
this
did.
summer.
But this won't be it. This won't be it.
No.
It's out first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where do you sit on the 28 days, weeks, years franchise?
I grew up loving zombie movies.
Well, this isn't a zombie movie.
Well,
It's an infected movie.
Okay, yes, I agree. Most particularly in this film, I hold it in a higher standard than others. And so I won't be quick to say it's a zombie movie. But just for the statement I'm making, I loved zombie movies. And I loved 28 Days Later. I remember watching it when I shouldn't be watching it. On in the kitchen TV, or rented it from Extravision. Or just lucky enough, oh look, it's on Sky. And then I did get it on DVD. And in watching it recently, I was reminded with the heavy hyper editing, aggressive filmmaking style that Danny Boyle did in that movie in 28 Days Later. And I thought, Jesus, maybe I thought this movie was a little bit better than I thought. And what I mean by that is, I guess I'm just not accustomed to the aggressive editing or the aggressive hyperactive style that he even uses in Trainspotting. But
Danny Boyle, he definitely, and the three examples, well, a few different examples, 28 Days Later, Trainspotting, 127 Hours, The Beach, like a lot of the editing can be quite visceral. It can be very harsh. It feels like very like, with both the visuals and the sound, it's going to like hurt you almost, like he's trying to elicit a reaction through the editing, you know, rather than through the story or through the actions of the characters or anything. It's I'm going to get you through the editing.
But because he's doing it in this particular style of filmmaking, it solidifies him more as an artist.
As an auteur, absolutely, yeah.
Because he's not doing this style to hide errors in filmmaking or to cover up mistakes.
Yeah.
It's a style.
It's to punctuate things rather than to hide anything.
Paul Greengrass is good at doing it in the action genre. And I just loved 28 Days Later. And I was so excited for 28 Weeks Later. And I loved it. I loved it at the time. Now I was a young lad. And in my later life, I do like 28 Days Later. Like, I really do like it. And just because I'm saying it like that doesn't mean there's a but. But I think, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a story. And then when it comes to 28 Weeks Later, again, maybe it's just a story. Like, I like the fun zombie adventure fun. The
more traditional kind of infected
like it's
Hollywood movie, I suppose.
It's a fun ride. It's a thrilling ride. It's a roller coaster ride, these movies. It's run away from these fast zombies and try and get to safety, or try to group up with others and try not to die. And while I like watching those most specifically for the first time, it gets a little bit tiring or stale, or I've seen this before, I know where it goes, I know what happens, I know how it ends. So what I'm trying to say is 28 days and 28 weeks are, in a non-generic description, is just a straightforward zombie survival. So when I watched 28 Years Later, blew through the roof from expectations.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Fucking love this movie. Yeah. I'm 100% not biased, not recency bias in this whatsoever, because even though I did see it just the other day, but it's better than 28 Days Later.
You think?
I know.
Oh, I know.
I know, yeah.
I have the facts to prove it.
I love this movie because it's a story that could stand on its own. It's a story that you could watch and not need to know that there were two other movies prior.
Absolutely not, yeah.
It's a story that does not rinse and repeat what the first movie did or what the second movie did. Mm-hmm. It's a story that Danny Boyle came back to do because he had an idea, and he had Alex Garland write the story that he wanted to tell, and he's not coming back to do another zombie movie. He's coming back to tell a story, and he's got it laid out in a trilogy. And for nothing else, this movie's beautiful. For the gore and gory scenes and the graphic moments that are in this movie, it's so beautiful. And I'm talking about from the emotional impacts from the characters and the cinematography.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think that what's amazing about the film is that even though it's an infected film and it's in the survival zombie genre, at the core of it is a very human story. And
it's a story about a boy and his parents.
And the different relationships he has with them, and what he's willing to go to in this world to make sure his mom, or to find out what's wrong with his mom, like to help her.
To save his mom, essentially.
But like, it's not about, we're going to find a cure, or like, it's not, we have to survive or anything like that. Like, they are surviving. They have their own home.
They're living.
They're perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And they have a good quality of life as well. So I'm glad that we are able to get both the survival aspect, and that being the kind of first act where he is taken out with his dad, and we get that survival, like zombie genre kind of stuff.
Because I thought that was going to be the entirety of the movie.
So did I thought initially that we were going to go out there, they were going to go as far as they go, the alpha infected would kill Aaron Taylor Johnson, and then it's a story about Spike getting home. And that's what it was going to be about. Because I didn't watch trailers. I closed my eyes.
Not even the first one.
I think I might have watched the first one, but I didn't watch anything beyond that. But I only watched the first one once. I didn't watch anything after that. So I was expecting it to be a survival, get back home kind of thing.
Yeah. But you thought Spike was going to be on his own for a portion of it.
For a majority of it, yeah.
Okay. And you see, that's a good thing, isn't it, though? We get both, yeah. We get the survival aspect, but then we get the hero's journey, the character-driven narrative, where he willingly goes back out in Act 2 with his mother, and it very much feels like it's a separate act, different from the first act, and then the third act with Ray Fiennes' character, that's a whole other thing altogether. Like, I love the structure of this film.
Yeah, so do I. Like, I mean, I think what's incredible is, like I said, at the heart of the film is the story of a mother and son. Yeah, right. But the climax of the film, right, the ending, well, not the ending, but the climax of the film is an emotional climax. It's not a big action set piece. Yeah. We have action set pieces throughout. Yeah. And we get one right at the very end, but I wouldn't consider that to be the climax. But the climax,
that's a prologue and an epilogue.
That's an epilogue, yeah, exactly. But the climax of the film is purely emotional, and it's it's learning to let go. It's
grown up.
It's very grown up, and like that, it doesn't do what the first two films did. No. It doesn't rehash anything like that. No. Because the first film does end on a...
Cillian Murphy goes around shirtless, killing all the soldiers because they're paedophile rapists.
And it is a action-packed set piece, but it's not the traditional fighting infected set piece or anything like that. And then, what is it for the second one? Oh, it's the dad is kind of the climax.
Yeah, he's the final foe. Yeah, because in that one, your small group of survivors start to be picked off one by one.
Did you rewatch that? Actually,
I didn't rewatch it, but it didn't lose me the fact that Jeremy Renner's sniper scope was still in this movie.
I did notice that too. I said it to my dad afterwards because we watched it before. And I was like, oh, did you notice the one shot from 28 Weeks? But we watched that.
Gotta give respect to that. Like a full on. No retconning, no denying its existence. It's acknowledging 28 weeks later happened.
Yeah, because that movie does end with the infection escaping England.
I'm happy for Danny Boyle to say that he pushed.
Yeah, that they pushed it back. They were able to contain it, and it's just in England.
Yeah. Because if that's not the case, well, then we don't get this movie. And I'm happy to believe that in favour of getting this trilogy.
I quite like the aspects of, for England, the world is paused, and we get a little bit of a glimpse into the outside world with a character we'll talk about later. But I love just that the world has continued.
I think that is probably concept wise the best thing about this movie.
Do you think?
It's
Yeah.
so interesting.
Just the fact that we're one country in this world. Well, actually, it looked like Ireland was quarantined as well.
Fuck's sake.
Fuck's sake, it didn't even get over here.
Yeah, it's like,
Fuck's
come
sake.
on, like, Americans like us. Like,
But just the concept of, oh yeah, there's just this one place in the world that if you go there, you will die. And we're just going to let them deal with it themselves.
you see, we were teased with it. First of all, we have the captions with the statement, "A rage virus consumed Europe," and
it was pushed back to just the quarantine zone.
And the quarantine zone is Britain. That is so fucking awesome. And when Aaron Taylor Johnson and Alfie Williams, so Spike and his dad, essentially, right? And they're hiding in the attic. And he points out the ship at sea, a surveillance or going around.
Border patrol, essentially, yeah.
Probably French. That is so interesting. Could you imagine being someone on that ship, looking at the islands of England, of Great Britain, and thinking, savages, what's going on over there?
Yeah.
It's so...
You can't even fathom what it is. And it's not even like that's an uncontacted Amazonian tribe or something like that. These are people that, went through the 90s, like the Spice Girls were there. That kind of way. Like
natives or some shit like
people
that.
That you can look up, like you probably know someone maybe that's still alive there. Like there's a possibility you would know someone in there.
Poor fucking... Hard done if you're born in that island. If you're born in the quarantine zone, you're not leaving. You're stranded there.
Even when Eric later on in the film says, like, once I'm here, I can't leave.
He seemed to be taking it like a champ, I thought.
Yeah.
Like, I looked up the actor's age. He's like early 20s, so I think he's not fully comprehended the reality of his future. But
not yet.
I love the role he played in being the avatar for that.
Yeah.
To be what the real world is into this frozen in time environment.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. Like, think about it. Like, Aaron Taylor Johnson, his character, he's lived his life. He's surviving by living, and he's raising his son, and he's
not
just
even. I would like right. Okay, no, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when you say, oh, he's lived his life, this is 28 years later, right? Aaron Taylor Johnson's probably only 35, 36, 37. So he would have only been 10 years old when this happens. He probably would have been the same age as like the kids at the start.
Yeah.
But you're right. I continue with your point that he does have the knowledge of the previous world. Even something as little as, oh, no way, and pulls out a frisbee. And Spike's like, what's that? Like, and it's a frisbee. Come on, man. Like, But the fact that he's raised his son, you're in a small land, tight community. Surely he's got to know. Well, I suppose Spike never did come across a frisbee. No. It's all context. It's all what you grew up with. What did you come across? And it's just never been there.
But it's just... I want more of that concept. I want more of the outside world
bleeding
into the quarantine zone here, because it's just, I don't know how to describe it. Could you imagine someone escaping North Korea and coming to a place like, let's say, Alaska or Ireland or the Sahara Desert or the forests of Canada? Or, like you said, an Amazonian tribe. Natives. Like, it's just crazy that in the quarantine zone, you may as well be in a different planet altogether.
Yeah. It hasn't continued. It's like the world has stopped. It's paused exactly as it was. And yet the world around it has entirely moved on. Like, your man pulls out an iPhone.
Yeah.
And he's got, like, 1% battery. And then Spike's like, what's that? He's got, it's about to be a brick. It's about to be useless. Yeah. There's a great dialogue piece where they're walking and Eric is explaining to Spike about how his friend was a postman. Yeah. And then all of his points of reference, Spike is like looking at him like, what's that? He's like, oh, he's a delivery driver, or like order online, and all these things, a Wall Street thing, and Spike just doesn't know anything. It's like every single thing that I'm referencing, you don't know anything about. But yeah, and so yeah, you're right. It is like, oh yeah, you're from an alien world. Yeah. But no, you're a kid. You're Spike. You're a 10-year-old or 13-year-old.
So us, you're normal.
Yeah, it's completely normal. Yeah. But there's come from completely different worlds. That even if you were to go across to North Korea, like you said, you could speak to someone and you would have some commonalities between you. But for them, it's like there's nothing. It might as well be your man Eric talking to a caveman.
I did ponder the idea that if this is happening in the UK and America is overrun by a society of apes, and over in down under Australia,
Mad Max,
the warmongers fighting over fuel and bullets and water.
You're making your own apocalyptic world.
It's believable.
Yeah,
I think it's believable. Yeah, and yeah, I just like it so much. I think there's so much more you can do with that, and we only got a taste of it in that of the ship. In that of the soldiers whose ship was sunk, and then of Eric and his role and his interaction with Spike, and it's just a taste, and I want more of it. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
What did you think about the change then to the infected? So we get a couple of different variants of infected this time around. It's not just the traditional infected and running. What are they? Like the rage zombies?
Yeah,
the rage infected.
The slow one was an interesting one.
I quite liked the concept of the slow one. I thought of it like have you ever heard that thing of like, would you take like $1 billion, but there's always a snail chasing you, and if the snail ever touches you, you die? You've never heard that kind of hypothetical?
No. Nope.
I thought of it as the same thing where, yes, it is infected. Yes, it is very slow, but it won't stop. It'll always be coming after you, and you kind of you'll shrug it off as like, oh yeah, whatever, like it won't get me. But when Spike is asleep and his mom is asleep, it's just slowly moving towards him and slowly moving towards him. And I like the kind of the thing of it's so big that it doesn't expend energy. That's why it's so big, and it's just eating on grubs and worms and beetles and all kinds of things.
Yeah,
and it's just slowly pottering around at the ground, like even. And it's so used to that even that when it comes across Spike, it doesn't go to take a bite out of him. It goes for his shoelace because it thinks it's a worm.
Yeah.
You know, it's so used to that. I thought that the slow ones were a really interesting variant on, because I think that when it comes to kind of zombie media and stuff like that, or infected media, there are a couple of different tropes that you go for. I think an alpha is probably a trope that you would...
It's common.
But... that slow, sluggish one, it's not one that would be a top priority or
it's not a diluted aspect of the zombie genre, whereas an alpha would be more diluted, would be more present. Like, I could point to you some in Zombieland and Zombieland Double Tap, or
Left
in
4 Dead
or Army of the Dead.
Yeah,
like smart, strong, hard to kill, alpha,
armored, stuff like that. Yeah, it's there are a couple of different tropes within the infected / zombie genre that this particular one wouldn't be like top priority. It wouldn't be one of the first ones you'd go to. You'd go through those other ones first, and then maybe in the sequel or the third one we would see this one.
Yeah,
you know, because we only really get these two variants. We get the sluggish one and we get the alphas. So we get kind of top and bottom of the food.
Yeah, but I needed my middle of the road.
That's I suppose what the other infected are.
Yeah, well,
they're middle.
Well, you see, that's what the alpha leads. The alpha leads those ones. So we're introduced to the Homer first, and I call it Homer because that's what they call the slow one in Zombieland Double Tap. But yeah, the slow-mo or slow-mer, whatever they call it, the slow one, the one that only crawls, which it looks like it becomes its own, like, you know, it gains weight, it pales up, loses all its hair, and it can only crawl. It can barely stand. What's to say that eventually the odd infected does end up like that?
Yeah.
Like, rather than, you know, being all skin and bones, it actually does expand and it gains weight, you know? But... Well,
I think, yeah, like... Because one of the aspects of 28 Weeks Later was that so many of the infected had died because they had starved.
Yeah.
So... this is a version of the infected that have had to adapt and survive because it's 28 years.
Yeah.
There's only so long that so many, you know, can stay fed on like chasing down animals and deer and stuff like that. I know we saw a lot of deer in this one, but to continue the infected to be alive and well and thriving within this quarantine zone, there has to be some kind of an explanation to that. And the sluggish ones, that explains to me, like, they don't expend any energy, like, if they didn't need to.
I just say it's also part of the mutation that, okay, those that are skin and bones, right, it's because they're not feeding. But see the way in the infected in The Last of Us, because they turn into clickers or they have those shrooms coming out of their pores in their bodies. That's because of the long-lasting time
The
they
effect
spend.
it has on them.
Yeah, and so I'd imagine that's what happens to some of the slow ones. It's not because they're just not expelling any energy. It's part of the mutation that takes over. That's the way I look at it, kind of, rather than they're just munching away. But after we got that introduction, and then we got the one that was sort of hanging upside down, and that's the more traditional one, that,
Yeah.
you know, with the bag over his head. And
I think that scene and that infected will have a lot to do with the future of the franchise, and I want to talk about that later.
Okay.
So don't let me forget that.
okay,
I think that scene in particular will come into play a lot in the future.
okay. But it was after that scene they said, right, time's up, we're going home. Because, you know, Jamie, Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's taking his son out, get his first kill, man him up, and to show him the ropes and teach him. And teaching him how to shoot arrows. And I like the use of the arrows here. I like the use of the weapons, and you can get into that in a minute, but I like that he was being smart as a father. Okay, we've got our few kills, let's go.
Yeah.
We're not staying here any longer than we have to be.
Not
I'm
glory hunting or
I'm
anything like that.
Not going to be reckless, not going to have a bit of fun. We are in a danger zone.
Yeah, especially with the fact that they do have a time limit.
Yes.
Because of the nature of the sea bridge,
The causeway.
the causeway.
Yeah.
They can only go at low tide.
Yeah, and so I like that they tried to explain that you can't swim it because the current will take it. Yeah, it's very, very dangerous shit that you can be easily stranded here, and that's why the infected doesn't make it over to your own little island. And so I like that he takes him to the open land, and this is where we see the hill and the tree in the top of the hill.
Yeah.
And he says, right, looks clear, let's go. Wait. And then we see just one infected walking over the hill. A Jesus Christ Messiah looking motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then
They earn the title Alpha, don't they?
and then a swarm of them just scatter and just stop in their standing, and you can see them all fidgeting and unhinged and twitching, and you hear the Alpha roar. Like, that's communication amongst themselves, making it more than just zombies. They're their own species. And I remember this in the trailer where that wide shot of the silhouetted infected all chasing towards our character's POV.
Yeah.
But the one Alpha is just standing
Just
still.
standing still, yeah.
That creeped me the fuck out. And I loved it. And I loved seeing it there as well. And
Because it kind of implies that there's some level of knowing, there's some level of intelligence there.
they're calculating.
Yeah.
They're thinking.
There's something going on there, because the rage infected, the ones that are just running, they are just running. They just want to infect.
The traditional ones, yeah.
But the alphas, they've had the thought. It's like, I'm going to send these people after them.
They're
There is
conscious.
yeah,
they're
some
thinking.
level of intelligent thinking there.
And the insert shots, like the millisecond insert shots of the up close of the infected faces moaning. Do you remember those? Danny Boyle fits those in. Like, yes, that's what I want. I want this type of thrill. And then, fuck this, run. And then the wide shots of them all running after him. Not many people are going to survive a zombie apocalypse if all infected do is run after you.
Yeah.
They
That's
don't.
the thing, is that a lot of people say, is it fast zombies or slow zombies?
Yeah.
Like, and they're always fast zombies. That as soon as the zombie's fast or an infected is fast, you're done for. Like, you just can't. If they've like unlimited stamina. Do you know, there's no stopping them, essentially.
They don't sleep. They don't tire. They don't feel pain. Run.
Yeah, unless you are putting an arrow in their heart or their head.
Yeah.
They're still coming for you.
And I like that it's not necessarily a headshot to kill them. Traditionally in the genre of the zombies, that go for by removing the head or destroying the brain.
Yeah.
But I do like that. No, you can kill them like you can kill infected in The Last of Us.
Yeah.
It's not by just removing the head. And I like that Jamie, he seems to have had experience in dealing with infected, because he's not just telling Spike to run. He's actually, all right, we're going to stop, stand our ground, pull out arrows. I'll get the first one, you get the next one, and then we'll keep going.
It's calculated. It's strategic. He's gone through something like this before.
He's a bit of a soldier in his own right, and like he's capable of doing this. I like that he's confident that these 20 odd infected are tracing after him, and he's able to keep calm, cool, and collected to stand his ground, take one out, instruct his son to take one out, and if he fails, he's happy to do it again. And he tells Spike to go, just go, while he was going to take another one out, but then he saw, fuck, there's too many, fuck it, go. Because there was that one bit where, he's trying to tell Spike to go so he can cover him, and take out a few more. But he says, nope, by the time I have the arrow in my bow ready to release, I'm already going to be tackled.
Yeah.
So, out. And when they run back into the house, and he stops while Spike's up the stairs, he takes another one out from the downstairs landing, and then he runs up, and then he's trying to get Spike on his shoulders and heave him up. And
that's where I was convinced he was going. That's where I was convinced he was
because they're just coming and they're not stopping, and they're charging up them stairs, and they both collapse to the ground, and then Jamie has to take out another one. I thought, I will not believe that you're able to tackle these without getting blood puked all over you.
Yeah.
Because if that happens to you, then that's it. Like, if their blood gets into your system...
It's not even a bite.
No.
It's any part of them whatsoever.
Any oral fluid or blood,
Yeah.
saliva, anything. So that's how Brendan Gleeson was taken out. Just a drop of
blood. And it was the same
eye.
with Robert Carlyle in 28 Weeks. It was a kiss.
Yeah.
Like a bit of saliva.
And that's it. So there's no tackling these zombies.
No, you're not getting close and personal with them. It's all from a distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought this was going to go in a certain brave traditional sense that the father's going to die, and now the son's going to have to fend for himself. This story is about Spike and how he's not going to have the protection of his father here.
Yeah.
And
this is him becoming a man.
That's fucking scary. Like, there's not a point in this movie where I wanted his father to die, because I just don't want Spike to feel unprotected. I need Spike to have his mentor there. And I like that they committed to that, you know, that his father stays awake while Spike sleeps, that his father's always the one getting him out of danger. His father wakes him up and he gets him out of the house because it starts to crumble. That's another interesting thing to happen. Yeah, this house, it's just 30 odd years late into the apocalypse.
Yeah,
how old,
no maintenance whatsoever.
How old was it before that?
Yeah.
How much of a derelict house was it before that? And just go, run, risk going back to the island if the tide's low enough. And it wasn't gone, but it was still there. But
what a beautiful shot as well of them running, like the wide shot of them running along the causeway, and like the bioluminescence of the water. Like you could see, even though it was a wide shot of the whole of the settlement as well as the island, and them running across, but you could see where they were. Yeah. And then just a little bit in the distance you could see them being chased.
It was the splash of the water that seemed to be more white than anything else in the dark.
Bioluminescence in the water. Yeah.
I don't know if that looked the best.
Oh, you didn't think so? I thought it looked great.
It looked artistically great, but I don't know if it could have been improved.
What would you improve with? Like brighter?
Better use of visual effects.
Which part exactly now?
The entirety of it. It looked like a screen.
Okay, I didn't feel as though it looked like a green screen, but I can understand.
Like, I'm telling you that the art and colour of it, the coloristics of it, the beauty of it, it was there. But it still felt like a soundstage.
Okay.
Or I just feel like that there was green screen in there too much, so especially for the wider shots. But I could be wrong. I'm just saying that's how I felt at the start. And so that's why I didn't feel like this was the make or break moment. This is the peak of the movie, that this was the most thrilling, scary aspect of it all, when that dun 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 dun, that fucking Terminator motherfucker chasing after them.
Yeah.
No tiredness, full of stamina, roaring after him.
We've already been told he could possibly take 12 arrows and still not go down.
Yeah.
You know, like we've seen, apparently in the world, they've seen it takes so many shots to take one down.
Yeah, that's why they're not going to fight it. He said that we're not fighting it.
No.
And the fact that it was standing there waiting for them while they were in the house, like just not moving. Mm-hmm. A lot of beautiful cinematography in that. But I thought, shit, here's the father going to die here. Mm-hmm. Jamie's going to get it here now. But no, he didn't. And the biggest takeaway to progress the story from this first act onward was the fact that they spotted the fire going on in the distance. Mm-hmm. And that was the takeaway for Spike.
Can I say something negative about that, seeing the fire? Yeah. Just on a technical aspect.
Yeah.
So this film was shot on an iPhone.
Yeah.
There were a few shots, very few and far between, but there's a few shots where it zoomed in and it felt like it was an iPhone zooming in. And that was one shot where they were looking at the fire.
I don't recall the zooming in that scene.
Oh, it was that, and there was another one as well where it just felt like it wasn't a smooth zoom. Do you know, it felt like it was someone standing kind of behind the two main characters and trying to, oh shit, yeah, I have to catch that. Do you know, it just kind of took me out of the moment a little bit where I went, oh yeah, that felt like an iPhone. It's like that shot in The Hobbit, the second one, mm-hmm. when they're going on the barrels, mm-hmm. and there's a very clear GoPro shot. Mm-hmm. Where it just completely takes you out of the film, or it takes me out of the film anywhere. I'm like, oh, that's a GoPro. Do you know what? It's not a film, and it's not on a film camera. It's on a GoPro. And so it was like that where it happened, and I was like, oh, that was an iPhone. That was it. It just took me out in that moment. But other than that, like, it was fine. It happened, I think, once another time in the film. I can't pinpoint exactly where it happened, but it just took me out a little bit. But yeah, that fire is essentially kind of our quest line then, I suppose.
Yeah, it is a quest, because I don't know if I can't even remember if that's 100% Ray Fiennes' character, mm-hmm. but Jamie's dismissing it as just other people that we don't want to be crossing paths with. Mm-hmm. And I thought there was going to be more. I thought there's going to be more inhabitants of the mainland that we'll be crossing paths with, but not so much, at least not in this movie.
No.
And when they do return safely to the island, like, they do take out that alpha, and we're actually
just by the skin of their teeth as well, like he's on their heels.
Like, I like the acting from Aaron Taylor Johnson where he's trying to say, look at me, look at my eyes, I'm clean, look at him, he's clean. Mm-hmm. Like, the necessity to get to safety has never been more forwardly vocal, or on such a visual display on his face.
Yeah, but I like that as well, that the leader of the community isn't opening the door. Do you know, it's the safety of the community that is forefront.
Yeah, she's taking her time to think. She needs to be convinced. Mm-hmm. And like Jamie is like shouting in her face to show her enough visuals on his face and his son's face that we're clean, we're not infected. And the fact that, okay, she waited a few seconds because it's an instantaneous...
It could take a few seconds, we don't know, yeah.
But it is an instantaneous...
In most cases, yeah.
Turn to go from being infected. Mm-hmm. It just takes a few seconds. Mm-hmm. Like, it's almost instantaneous. Like, remember some guy in the second movie, he goes under the water and he comes back up and infected. A shot later.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
In the boat scene.
Yeah, at the very beginning, yeah.
So... this little section here of the movie is the party, a celebratory event for Spike. Mm-hmm. And it's good to see this here. Like, I thought, oh shit, we're actually supposed to be enjoying this. This is supposed to be a fun moment for our characters.
Yeah, like, that's like what I was saying earlier, is that this settlement, like, people are living their life. You know, it's not... They're
drinking, they're singing.
Yeah, we're not just getting by. We have a life here. Yeah. We get along, and everyone knows everyone. And like, that was even something when they were leaving initially. Everyone was saying good luck to Spike. It wasn't like, oh, these are just people, neighbours or whatever. These are people that, like, we're all one big community. And like the fact that a little girl goes up to Spike to give him an apple is like, oh, that's something that's very graceful and precious. We've seen the guy showering and it says, please don't take long. Like, that's resources you can't be wasting. Like, you can't have an extra few minutes in the shower. No, not like that. And I like that the house that they live in, it's very much an old house that is not the cleanliest. No, because you wouldn't have the ability to, like, it is what it is. Yeah, you get that a little bit later on in a scene or two where Aaron Taylor Johnson is walking down the stairs and he punches just above the stairs. Yeah, and it like crumbles from like 2 punches.
it's a house from the 1950s by the looks
with
of
no
it.
maintenance over the last 30 years. Like, of course it's going to crumble like that.
Like, do you remember the insert shots of the carpet on the stairs? Like how the carpet is just peeling off.
It's torn and frayed and all. I thought that was going to come back in later because a few times.
I don't know what is there.
Cut to that.
Is he going to trip and break his neck or something?
I
like
thought so.
Die unnecessarily, and that's
like,
supposed to be
Breaking Bad with Ted. Do you remember? When the guys went to his house and he kept tripping over the mat, and then we obviously get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was going to be play into it a little bit somewhere
because
later.
he had 2 insert shots of the carpet.
Yeah.
I just noticed.
Maybe it was just to show that the frayed nature of the family.
Well, like, I just want to say that the house they're living in, that their family home, it feels like a set. It feels like when they did their scouting for locations that they came across this house. We would love to use this house as a set for a film. Can we move you out for a few weeks and
leave it exactly as it is? We want this to be as lived in as possible.
I believe that is actually some 70-year-old man or woman's house, and they're just an islander.
Yeah,
and that's their home. And like, you know, the window sills of the corner, it's all black and it's all dirty. Like, there's a lot of clutter and junk. Like, look at the kitchen he's cooking in. Like, you're gonna be lucky if you have a bar of soap for a month. And I just felt like the set was lived in. You know, you walk into the kitchen, you go into the hallway, you go up to the bedroom where Ish looks to be in a bit of a state. Like, I do not want to lie down on that mattress that Jodie Comer is in. Like, splattering the water all over the place, and he brings up a dirty towel because you don't have a laundry facilities.
You just don't have the
third world country.
Yeah, you don't have the luxuries, I suppose, that the rest of the world has. So it's just you make do. Even at that, like when they have the shop essentially where they have all the supplies. Yeah. And there's like toothbrushes and a couple of medical things, and like there's little signs up, like similar to the shower. The little signs like only take what you need. Yeah. Do you know, like don't be greedy. You know, this is for everyone. Yeah. What's the word I'm looking for? Where you cheat on your wife? Adultery. That's it. No shyness of that there. No. That's a very serious thing for Spike to see. Now, I was trying to think, well, I know Jodie Comer's character, the mother, she's bedbound, she's unwell. I kind of took it, well, are they even married? Or did they just have a child together and they're just co-parenting and they live together but they're not actually together? Yeah. I don't know what to take away from that. I agree because of the fact that the next morning when Aaron Taylor Johnson comes in, there's actually a cot in the corner. And I thought, oh, he sleeps there. Do you know, so maybe is it just a kind of thing where, yeah, they had a kid in the last 10 years. It was a one night stand. Yeah, and they're just together. They just live together. You know, they're just his mom and dad. It's not like, oh, they're husband and wife or anything like that. But yeah, no, he cheats on his wife, and it's one of those things where it's like, oh, it's a horrible thing, but not that I can understand it. But from his perspective, it's like, oh, his wife is bedbound, like she's not all there. They don't know what's wrong with her, and it's like he's looking for the companionship, I suppose, that he can't get from his wife, and not that she's chosen not to give it to him. It's not like he can leave her or anything like that. She's like, she needs a caregiver, and that's him, and he's just looking for the companionship that his wife can't provide him. Now, don't get me wrong, I like that he does this. You like that he's cheating on his wife? Well, yeah. Now, maybe that's a bit too strong of a label, but I do like that he's doing this here because it adds to his character, and it adds. Oh yeah, it makes him three-dimensional, and it adds to the journey Spike goes on. Because what it's the reason why Spike decides something needs to be done. Yeah, he gets a little bit of information that the fire they saw is from a doctor who used to be part of the community, and then he sees his dad cheating on his mom, and he's like, okay, I need to be the caregiver for my mom because it's not him. Because that's how he sees it. Because he confronts him, right? And they have a proper, like, he's the day before he was a kid who became a man, and then literally the next morning he's stepping up to be the man. You know, he's calling his father out. Yeah, he pulls a knife on him and everything like that, pushing him. And the scene in the kitchen where he's asking him, "Is she dying?" And he just says, "I don't know." It's like he's half given up because he thinks probably it's for the best because she seems to be ill for such a long time now. And yeah, but I do genuinely believe that he doesn't know, because until later on we find out what that diagnosis is, it could very easily be like that she has like bipolar disorder, she has schizophrenia. Like, we don't know what's wrong with her at all. There's only like when they go out do we get like a little bit where her nose is bleeding.
Yeah.
Like, so yes, she is sick, and we find that out later that she has cancer, but we don't know at that point, is she physically sick or is she mentally sick? Do you know? So I do believe him that he genuinely does not know. Is she dying? I don't know. Like, this might just be her. She might have early onset dementia. She might have Alzheimer's. We don't know, because of the fact that she's got mental fog. Like, she doesn't know one day to the next. She starts confusing Spike with her dad.
Yeah.
You know, so it could be any sort of thing. So I do genuinely believe that he doesn't know what's wrong with her. He's just making the best of a situation.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. He is doing that. He is dealing with it how he sees fit. But I like that, like, he hits Spike, and he immediately regrets it, obviously, and it kind of reminds me, it makes me think like you became a father unexpectedly, and you became a father too young, because he does look young enough. Like, he could pass for 30.
Yeah.
He's 35 in real life, Aaron Taylor Johnson. But
Is he? Jesus,
yeah,
28. Fuck.
I know, right? But when the mother was moaning upstairs again, and Spike goes up, she seems to be sick. She knocked the glass or something like that, and the father goes up and even just after hitting his son, he says, "Do you need a glass of water, love?" And Spike immediately shoves him out of the room, closes the door over, and he feels like now he's a danger to him and his mother, and he's like, "Get away from us." And I just thought, my heart went out a little bit for Jamie, because just yesterday he was his guardian angel, his protector, the man his son looks up to, and here his son's pulling out a knife at him, and he's just had this great night of like bigging up his son, as he called him the giant killer, all these kind of things, and like, for Jamie, last night was probably one of the best nights of his life, and then all of a sudden now his son is pulling a knife on him. And I just remember his eyes, Aaron Taylor Johnson's eyes. I thought his acting was so silently well delivered. I could feel like I could see him about to cry. He pulls the knife off of Spike and he closes it and he hands it back to him, and it's like, how did we get here? Like, from yesterday. And I feel like that he felt isolated then, that he felt like he was excluded from the family, that he's now outcasted, and then he goes and punches a hole in the wall. And I just really like that familial aspect to it and the drama surrounding it. I really do like that, and that's him more or less gone from the movie. And like we said, I thought initially, or we both thought, that he would die and he wouldn't be a part of it, but no, he's still alive, but he's dead to Spike. You know, that kind of way. But the movie continues on with Spike making the conscious decision, I guess one day out is experience enough to go out for another and take his mother out. And when he takes his mother to the mainland, and she's not really conscious of where they are until she sees that it is the mainland, and she's upset. She's looking at, where's your father? Where's Jamie? Where's the man who was shouting at you're a baby killer? Yeah, I need you here because you're the man of the house and you're the protector. And when it's herself and her son roaming the lands, all I'm thinking is, you're both dead. You cannot survive this on your own. You need your father. You need Aaron Taylor Johnson here to be the strong male leader to lead this group. Nope. Gone from the movie. He's just in it at the prologue. Or, what is it? Prologue the end? No, the first. Is the prologue the end or the epilogue the end? Epilogue's the end. Epilogue the end. We get a little bit of... I agree with what you said there, that in all honesty, they shouldn't have survived because of, first of all, Spike's experience the day before, and his, like, he kind of crumbled under pressure. And that's fair enough. Like, he's nervous, obviously, and he's being chased by these rage-infected monsters. But in my head, there aren't that many infected in this area. Because of the fact that we have, when Jamie and Spike are moving through, like, on the mainland, we get, like, bits of, like, the trees and stuff that have been cut down, and they say, oh, this is the fuel. So, like, in my head, this area is mostly combed through. Do you know, like, any kind of wild, like, they would send out expeditions just to kill infected, you know, just to make sure that there's no, it's like, you know, mowing the lawn, just making sure, just keeping it. So, because I don't think there aren't very many instances after that point where they are
encountering the Rage, the infected. We get the sequence with them at the petrol station, but beyond that, and then we get obviously the Alpha chasing them. But after that, there's no infected with Jodie Comer and
no. You're right. The most action set piece, the most action heavy set piece of dealing with the infected was done in the first act with Jamie and Spike. Where the rest was more so just trying to survive. Because going forward here, really, in terms of our main characters, it's only Spike with the weapons and the bow and arrow. A lot of these genre movies have weapons of guns and bullets.
Not 30 years in.
No.
No way. And you know what? That's something I was going to say earlier is anytime that there is a character that uses a bow and arrow, it actually kind of annoys me when they don't go and get their arrows back. That's a finite resource.
But you can't.
You can.
Nope.
Why couldn't you?
Blood. Infected.
So?
What do you mean so?
Wipe it off.
I wouldn't go near it.
Just don't put it in your mouth. Don't be sucking on your arrows. Sure, he shot the infected and the blood splattered on Jodie Comer and wiped it off her. As long as it doesn't go in you, that's fine. But in a finite resource, if I kill one infected and there's no more around me, I go and I get my arrow back. Because they did get caught. They were caught in that house and they didn't have any ammo back.
They used them up, yeah.
They used them up. But
it's a very scary situation, isn't it?
But they killed the guy that was hanging there and didn't take the arrow.
Okay, fair enough.
So it's like, it's in situations where you're running, yeah, that's fair enough. Don't go back for your arrows. But in little instances like that, you should always pick up your weapons again.
I remember Daryl Dixon doing that back in the early days.
Daryl Dixon's a prime example. Yeah. He's a crossbow. How many times are you coming across a crossbow bolt? Very, very rarely.
No, he was hesitant to not shoot a walker that was hanging in a tree, waste of an arrow.
Yeah, he's right to.
Probably the only time he's done that, but he pulls his arrows when he can.
Yeah, and he has to because he's not coming across them. You're not like walking into someone's house and like, oh, brilliant, 20 more crossbow bolts.
I just gotta say it as a prop. Those arrows, or at least the bows themselves, those are huge.
They felt they big and strong.
Yeah,
and they were like hefty, like that. If you were caught. That this is something that you would, because of the fact they're trained on it as well from a young age,
yes.
Like you're confident with your bow.
But when they're walking into a small house, you're looking at the size of the bow in the hand of someone like Aaron Taylor Johnson. It looks fucking huge. Like, if I was holding that right now, I couldn't really place it next to me
comfortably.
I'd have to stand it or I have to put it against something so it doesn't fall.
Yeah,
like it is a huge prop. And while we're on it, I love the stylistic choice.
I thought you were going to say something completely different there. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
I'll tell you what it was now in a minute. Sorry. I'll just say it now because I'm laughing. You said, speaking of a huge prop, I thought you were going to talk about the Alpha's dong swinging around there because it's fucking huge.
We're not there yet. Hard to miss, isn't it?
Yeah. You'd be running and then you glance down. What the fuck? And you keep running, you glance down again. It's like, fuck, it is huge. I see why they call him the Alpha.
I started to call him Samson. No, I wasn't going to talk about that.
No.
But
not yet.
Not yet. We will. But the still image, freeze frame moments when an arrow makes impact on an infected, when it goes through the neck, chest, leg or head, freeze frame, and you see the splatter of blood exit their wound. I like that stylistic choice, like the freezing moment of the impact of your kill.
Yeah, I know a little bit more about that because I got a chance to sit down with one of the cameramen on this film, Stefan Schupak, and we'll actually have an interview with him in the coming weeks there about this film and about some of his other films. But this is a conversation I had with him a while ago, and he said what they had essentially was, the rig that they would have had for The Matrix for bullet time?
Yes.
They had that, but in a handheld version. And so it was multiple iPhones that, as like a bolt or an arrow would go in,
yes, it
would shoot right around, to the furthest one. Like if this one was on the far right, it would shoot right around and go to the far left and continue the shot from that one. So it was essentially like a miniaturized bullet time sequence.
I think I know the rig you're talking about. How quick do you need to be reacting to that blocking?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it a continued shot like with the actors or?
But the moving of the rig then, like you need to be fast.
It's all handheld. So it's like imagine a circle of iPhones, like a semicircle of iPhones.
Yeah.
And you're just holding it.
Yeah.
And you're recording on all the cameras at once. And so in the edit, you can spin it, you can go through
Gotcha.
them all. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. I thought there was more movement in
No.
like physical human movement
Yeah.
in that task. But no, okay, I get you.
It was used sparingly. I can only think of maybe 2 or 3 times it was used.
Oh, I had like 5 or 6.
It was 5 or 6.
Yeah, or
I
7.
noticed it. I only really noticed it 2 or 3 times. But it was effective. It was
yeah.
like bullet time, but much quicker. Do you know, that kind of spinning around.
Yeah.
So hopefully when I get to sit down with Stefan, I'll have more... He'll be able to talk more in depth about it.
Well, back to the plot at hand. I knew Jodie Comer was in this movie. But for a good 35 minutes, up until we get into Act 2, I'm thinking, what's her role in this? What is she doing in this movie if she doesn't seem to be cognizant or capable to lead a narrative?
And that's something, I don't know about you, I don't particularly like that when it comes to characters that don't have, not that they don't have any agency, but it's just like they're being dragged along. Do you know, like they're just kind of out of it, and they're like that.
They're nearly passive.
Yeah,
like
I put it in the same camp as Daemon Targaryen in House of the Dragon in season 2, like a character that you can't differentiate between dreams and reality, and like all this kind of stuff. Where like that, like they're just kind of confused all the time.
So you felt Jodie Comer's character here was like this?
I thought that initially. I was like, I don't like characters like this that are just kind of being dragged along.
Yeah.
But then as the story progressed, and she did have moments of lucidity, do you know, and we get that even when she gets her diagnosis, that she's like, I know when I'm confused that I'm confused. After I say something, I go, why did I say that?
Yeah.
Do you know, so I didn't mind it as much. I liked her here in this.
Because when I was watching this movie, I thought, okay, Jamie and Spike are going to get stranded on the mainland, and they're going to face many obstacles to get back home. So how is Jodie Comer, the mother, who is bedbound, lucid and insane nearly, and mentally unwell, going to go it alone to rescue them herself? That's not what happened.
No.
And because that subverted my expectations, I like it even more, and it makes more sense. Because she's not a character to do that. I knew she was in this movie, and I knew she was going on the mainland. I knew she was going to be involved in huge set pieces like running away or being a participant in a major part of the movie. Like, is she billing name, or is Aaron Taylor Johnson billing name?
I think she is.
Yeah, nearly rightly so.
I think she is.
Like she's absent for the most part.
You could see this in another film, and it's the whole family are traveling. You know, and Aaron Taylor Johnson's character is killed. You know, and it has to be them to continue, because that, I think that the fact that it's just the two of them, mother and son, that does subvert your expectations as well. That
is also, you know, because when you have something like The Last of Us, you have the big, strong, brave, hard man with Joel leading the kid. Parallel here, the adult is, first of all, a female, which is unfortunately not as common in leading survival horror movies, and she's not mentally capable to take charge in getting those to safety.
Yeah.
So that role belongs to Spike, a kid who's still learning to get headshots, and still a kid, and he's a boy, not a man. And the sense of danger is more likely now because they're inexperienced in the mainland.
Well, not only inexperienced, but she's also a liability. You know, there's no guarantee that she won't just have a mental break and just sit down and refuse to move.
Or she could end up shouting at Spike thinking he's Jamie.
Yeah, and drawing a load of infected or anything
exactly.
like that. You know, that she is just a liability just in being her.
But then there was a moment where I thought, is she faking? Because when Spike is asleep and that snowmower is crawling up to him, and then someone saved them, put a bag over their head, and I thought, oh, Jamie must be here, because he's obviously going to go after them, right? He's obviously going to go chase him. He's obviously going to pull a Tommy or Jesse in The Last of Us 2 game and go after him, but nope, he's not there.
Because of what your one said.
Of who was said?
So the leader, when Spike and Jamie were leaving at the beginning, she says, anyone is free to leave at any time.
Yes.
But we won't send anyone out after you. There are no rescue missions.
We won't permit anyone to go after you. But Jamie is still free to leave.
But he would have been going after them.
Yeah.
So it's like that contrast there.
I don't think that would... I just think that he would have gone after them. I think that he would not let those older folk, those country folk, standing by the door, the gate of the community, to prevent him from leaving.
Yeah, but he didn't. Like, so.
Well, that's another thing as well. Like, did he not go after them for a reason? Was he still hurt? Was he still hungover? Did he not realize until the day?
He's hungover, so he's not going.
But maybe he did leave after punching a hole in the wall, and he went to wander the island, maybe get drunk and have another fling, and maybe
it wasn't until the next day did he realize, that they were gone. Because we don't really know what's the timeline on this. 2 days, 3 days?
Maybe he's gone for a day. Maybe the night before he realized that they're gone, and it's the following morning that we see them again, and that's the case. But
he couldn't go out because you can only go out at 2 times anyway.
Yeah,
so if you miss it going out,
fair enough. You're actually
day.
right. Yeah, but you're helping me understand this. He couldn't go out because the tide was gone. So that actually even makes more sense. There is no him going after them because they've left the spaceship. They're on a different planet now. Yeah, I didn't realize that watching the movie. Hence, it would have been more scary. Because there's no help coming after you. There's no Aaron Taylor Johnson coming after you. I'd rather him be in my party than Jodie Comer as her character. Because he's the one who will likely get you out of a situation alive. But it wasn't him that saved Spike when he was asleep. I thought, is this when Ray Fiennes come into it?
I thought it was Ray Fiennes.
Yeah, and rightly so. But no, it was her.
So did you think she was lying? I just fully took it as like she doesn't remember it. She genuinely does not remember it, like because of her.
So you think that
coming in and out.
Her survival instincts to Mama Bear protecting her cub came into that, and that's why she slept next to him, or she full on didn't remember.
I think that she woke up, killed it, sat down beside him, fell back asleep, and by the time she woke up, she had no memory of it, because it was a moment of confusion for her, or she had maybe a moment of lucidity in killing it, and then when she woke up she didn't remember it.
I guess my initial thought was she was faking.
No, I never for once thought she was faking.
Well, I know that now, and I
but your initial thought was
just the initial thought. I think it is a good segue to talk about why you should not unload the amount of bullets you have in your machine gun to kill all the infected that's coming after you. Why? Because it's only gonna draw more. So the French, Swedish. They're French because Jamie called them French, probably French, as if he hates French.
Yeah, but the Swedish Border Patrol got shipwrecked and had to come on the island, and then were being chased by infected.
And this is a good, set piece for red shirts, isn't it?
This is a good trailer sequence.
But it's nice to satisfy the soul, replenish yourself. A bit of red shirts, a bit of action.
You want people to die, but they can't be our main characters. Yeah.
And this is good. I actually like this. I liked how it started off with them literally coming off of the lifeboat, the raft they got onto to get to the mainland, and then there's just a lot of them are running. And there's maybe 8 of them, and one of them has a limp leg, and he's helping them run.
Yeah.
And
slowly just picked off one by one.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, they have all these machine guns, and they have all these weapons.
I didn't even think, to be honest with you, of the fact that, shooting them, you'll kill 2 or 3, but you'll draw the attention of 5 more.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that, but you're absolutely right. That
Can you imagine the fear those lads had on their souls just being chased by these natives? Like, to them, they're natives.
They're not, military there to kill infected. They're border patrol to stop people, shooting people in the water, or shooting infected that are in the water maybe. So when they're faced with this situation, it's like, oh shit, we are fucked.
Yeah.
I
like the one bit where they're doing good in keeping ahead of them, but one infected just drops from the sky on top of a guy, and that was the guy who was helping the injured lad. So that injured lad's just crawling away with a limp leg. Dude, pull out your pistol.
Final stand.
Yeah. No, don't do it for you. Damn, fucking pump a bullet in your brain.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Yeah.
And I like that there's one moment where one of the soldiers was infected, and he turned into infected, and the soldier next to him, who was his colleague, took a minute to look what happened, and he shot him. It's like, oh, is this guy like a main character of this segment? Nope, he's gone. And they make it into the dark tunnels, and great, Samson. And you know, in the dark atmosphere, can't see anything but the flashlights on their shoulders, and fatality. Like, we seen the deer's head get ripped off and the head with the spine still attached, planted on a tree.
I think that the way the alphas kill is really interesting as well, because the infected bite you and infect you, but they don't like devour you like zombies would. Like, it's nearly just, oh, we're infecting everyone.
Yeah.
Whereas alphas are there to kill you. They're not infecting anyone, they're killing people.
You'd rather be killed than infected if those are the only options. But that's a hard way to go.
Yeah, pull the entire head off with the spine and everything like that.
Now I know why the poster is like that.
Yeah.
And so one of the soldiers got away. And like, okay, great, what's his role going to be? And then we're back to Spike and Isla or Ilsa? Isla.
Yeah.
And they're having that beautiful moment in the flower fields. Beautiful bit of beauty, isn't it? In this land of beauty, of nature. And
that's where she starts calling him dad, and she has this memory back to her childhood and the angel standing in the field. Yeah,
which was a nice scene. I thought it captured a bit of beauty, but in that moment, in the trailer, the non-Cillian Murphy infected rises up as if it just stood up, like
as if it was laying on the ground.
But it didn't get up to get on his knees first. It literally levitated up from lying on its back onto his feet. Whereas in the movie, it was just sort of standing there, creeping into it. And I thought, oh, this is going to be like a boss type of zombie, or not zombie, but like this is going to be an infected whose face we're going to see appear a few times.
Yeah,
because it's a very significant looking one.
Yeah, and it was prominent within the trailer.
And in the poster as well. But no, it's just taken out then and there. And I thought, great, Spike's getting a bit confident here, and he's conscious to not let the blood get on his mother's eyes. But then there's a load more in the fields, and what do? Run.
You just gotta run.
Run. And I felt like this was very reminiscent to the
second one.
No, actually the second one, yeah, you're right, in the fields. But in the first one, when Cillian Murphy was being saved by Naomi Harris's character, running into the petrol shop, and they blew up that, and we're coming back to an abandoned petrol station here.
Yeah.
And all the fumes that have been just...
I quite like that, with the layer of smoke just like sitting on top.
Yeah. I didn't know what to take away with that. Like, I think because I'm uneducated on the chemistry of that, I'm thinking, what art style is this now? Like, is this not a bit too much? I understand he's putting in the old archival footage from other movies of arrows being launched and loose by soldiers, and the dream sequences with Spike looking at his mother in the sea, and the red scenery of a nature documentary of all the infected.
Yeah.
But I thought, what's this art style here? And like, no, this is actually something that can happen after 30 years in the apocalypse. And I thought, fuck, it was going 90 with the infected just barging into this room. Like,
this felt like the most like, oh no, they're fucked. They're not getting out of this.
Like, if there was one time, it was when they were trying to get into the cellar in the first act, Jamie and Spike. But here, like, you're running out of arrows and you're using utensils and trays and trolleys to block your path. But you can't make contact with these things because you're gone. If you put your hand on it, you're more than likely to get infected, because it's not something like Mary from Shaun of the Dead is gonna topple over you, and it's like,
you can't do it at close quarters at all.
No.
It has to be from a distance, and now you're in a tight confined space. There's no movement. Yeah.
So a real like launch from the seat when I saw that soldier appeared on top of the roof, and he actually saved them, told them to get down, and actually burnt them all. So it was good. It feels like we're actually taking a few steps into the progression of the story here, with having 3 characters on a bit of a quest here.
Yeah. And
this is Eric, the avatar for the outside world.
Yeah, no, and we talked about it earlier, but I just really liked Eric in that being the outsider. You know, coming in with these references, and the world had carried on.
Showed him a picture of his girlfriend.
What's wrong with her? All this kind of stuff. Like,
and Spike telling him, that happened to a girl on my island when she was it clams, shellfish?
Oh, shellfish allergy. Yeah.
It's like, what's wrong with her face? I like this is alien to Spike.
Yeah.
Everything that Spike sees, everything that Eric tells him, it's all alien to him. And I like that Eric is in a bit of an advantageous position with the knowledge of what the world is today, because he's pretty much traveled back in time now.
Yeah.
In being this quarantine.
But he's
land.
also, like, you're right, you said it earlier, like, it hasn't quite dawned on him yet, but he doesn't, it hasn't fully hit him that he can't leave now.
Oh yeah, he's not.
Whether he dies or not, he can't leave the
He's
quarantine
not
zone.
going to see his parents again.
No.
He's not
He
going.
even refers to his fiance, oh, this is my fiance. Well, I suppose my ex-fiance now. Do you know, like, he's
Yeah.
understood to some level that I'm not going to see her again.
He hasn't had a panic attack yet.
No.
about it. He hasn't contemplated suicide.
Probably because he hasn't had a moment to think.
Yeah,
He
he's-
hasn't had a moment to, like, actually sit with the consequences of what this means.
Yeah, you're right. He's just.
He's gone from that battle in the tunnel to the battle at the petrol station, and now moving along with these two. He hasn't had a moment to himself to fully sit down and contemplate what's happened.
And I liked his reasoning for saving them, because he thought he was going to get something out of it, because he thought he could be taken back to their base of
Well,
operations.
yeah, that's what if I was in his position, it's like, okay, well, these two have survived 30 years of this, 28 years of this, so they're obviously coming from somewhere, or they're going somewhere. I'll join up with them, and this will benefit me in some regard.
I really liked his character. And
I liked him too.
And I liked that they did not play him off to be an entire dick.
No, but I do like that Elsa was like, or Elsa, whatever it is, Jodie Comer's character is like, I know a dick when I see one.
Yeah.
And that's a dick.
What did you make of then probably the one scene that I had to hold my breath and, quench in the corner?
Was this on the train?
Yes.
So I think that this, accompanied with the scene earlier with the guy hanging,
Yes.
I think that these are two of the most important scenes in the whole film, and I think this will be something that will be explored in the next two films. Okay, because Aaron Taylor Johnson says to Spike, he says he's infected. He doesn't have a brain, so he doesn't have a soul. He says that when he's trying to get him to shoot him.
Yes.
And he's a little bit hesitant to begin with.
Yeah. I thought it was a little bit strange to use those words.
Yeah, it felt very deliberate. He's saying he's not a person anymore. He doesn't have a soul. He doesn't have a mind.
It's just a monster.
It's just a monster. And then when we get into this scene where we have this pregnant infected, and she's there giving birth, and Jodie Comer, her character, goes up, tries to comfort her, offers her hands, and the infected takes her hands and, like, gives birth right then and there. And for this slight moment, there's humanity. It's back. Like, she's no longer, it didn't feel like she was infected at all. It was just two people in this moment. And then she has the baby, and then bam, she's back to infected, and she attempts to kill her, and they kill her. The
Eric unloads her.
Yeah. So I was like, hold on a minute now. There is, like, is that something that we're going to explore? Is that, yes, these people are infected, but no, they're still in there to some level, to some degree. Because we also get it a little bit earlier on in the initial prologue with Jimmy, when he goes to his dad and he's the priest, and he's there, and just before he's infected, he kind of raises his hands out, as if like, oh, take me,
It's like the rapture.
Yeah. And he gets infected, and then once he's infected, he stands up and he does the same movement again. And so I'm kind of thinking, like, okay, yes, they're infected, but is there something, is the humanity still in there somewhere? Do you know, it's just blocked by this infection or something like that. So I think that that's something that we'll see, especially with that infected scene. Like, the fact that it was and as well, it confused me, because we initially saw her a little bit earlier in the film just kind of wandering
with other infected, just playing around, splashing water, hitting in the mud. Like, they're not
monsters.
They're animals.
Yeah.
They're natives.
And I thought, oh, this was just a lady who was pregnant when she got infected, and now she's forced to be pregnant for the rest of her life.
She looks to be pregnant. She looks to have been infected for years.
Yeah. And so then when she had the baby, I was like, oh, hold on a minute. Is there some level of society here? Are the infected having sex? And now this baby was...
Samson's got to use that thing for something.
Yeah, like, I was like, this is crazy. This is like, we're evolving the nature of the infected as well. Do you know? Yeah, we get the evolved alphas and the sluggish ones as well, but no, like that someone could be born of an infected but not infected themselves. Like, is she immune to it? Like, is that something that we're going to investigate now within these next two films? Are we going to like try and find a cure for the infection or what? Or are we going to see that infected still have their humanity in there somewhere, that they can be cured in some way? It'll be interesting to see going forward, but I think that those two scenes are very deliberate in what they're doing for the future of the franchise.
It just made me be quiet, the whole scene. Not because of how graphic or what it was, because even you now pointing out, it's making me think about a few things. And I didn't realise the callback or the foreshadow that Jamie said when he said it's a monster, it's a mindless thing that has no soul. That pregnant infected looked like she had some humanity in her, and the best visual cue of that was when she did grab Jodie Comer's hands.
Yeah,
like when she grabbed her hands, like, whoa,
that's not something you've ever seen any infected do before.
So I really don't know what to take from it, because it's something we've probably never seen before in a prominent IP in the genre like this. Therefore it's breaking new ground, it's charting new waters. Is it going to be hard to digest and to take as the reality and facts and lore of this IP, and where can it go? What else can this do? Because yes, I said the best thing about this movie as a concept was the fact that only the UK is in quarantine and the rest of the world has moved on, but that's another good one as well. And I think Danny Boyle is doing something very good with this, and Alex Garland, he's good. Like, he came back for a reason. He got him to write this for a reason. So there must be cooking up something good. And the whole,
the fact that this is envisioned as a trilogy.
Yeah.
You know, it's not... I think with a lot of trilogies, you make the first one, that's great.
Yeah.
And then the studio comes along and says, all right, make two more. And then you get a second one that's not a complete story, and then a third one that's the climactic. But we're coming into this knowing there's three planned.
Well, it feels like, you know, when Disney did their sequel trilogy of Star Wars... That was done to, do more movies, but, you know, make money. But it really feels like that someone went to Danny Boyle or someone went to Alex Garland to pitch this again. Yeah, okay, Sony's going to love the idea of having new movies to make money from, but ideas came first in this.
Yeah.
Very much ideas came first. And just back to the idea with Jimmy's father, the vicar, when he raises his hands out again after he was infected. I didn't take that as something like, oh, he's conscious of what he just did before he was infected, like taking on the infected as if it's God sending the rapture. I took that as something like a double-edged sword, where when he raises his arms out when he's infected, I took that, yes, this is the rapture, but not in the way that, you know,
he initially envisioned it.
Yeah, this is the cost. Like, it's like it's a deceit. It's like God appearing to you, but it's actually the devil.
Yeah. Well, it is something that I retroactively kind of thought of after seeing those other two scenes, that I can kind of make that one fit into that same thing.
It is a good fit, because maybe deep within him, he is thinking, yes, let's go save everyone else. But it's like... You know, it's like, I don't know, something where the villain gets what he wants, but at the cost of their life.
Yeah.
That's how I took that. Like, the vicar.
Kevin Spacey in Seven.
Yeah, that's one example. But it's like the vicar got what he thought he was getting, and he did what he thought he was readying himself for. He prepared himself to be infected, but he took it on as if it's the right thing to do. But he's infected with the rage virus, and now he's... God damn it, I just don't like it when I can't explain. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah. He thought that it was one thing and it's another, and even though they both seem like they're the same thing.
Yeah, couldn't have said it any better myself. But Eric gets his spine ripped out of...
Samson comes and teaches him a lesson.
I didn't actually look up the actor, but I feel like I have to know, okay, what Viking era or...
They actually got a time machine. They pulled him back.
Medieval country is this guy from? Because the hair, the height, the build, the aggression, and the dong.
Yeah, it felt like he was being pulled from the past, like a caveman.
Very much so. You know, at this point, all the infected are fucking naked. Like,
They're not getting up in the morning and putting on clothes. They're just wandering.
But I think it does come back to the idea that the approach that Danny Boyle made this movie is like a nature documentary.
Yeah, and you get that like a little bit with the, like you were saying there, the kind of like the night vision as well of like seeing them just interact and you would get them attacking a deer, to survive as well.
But you see the beauty of the land, and up pops up this ugly little thing, this infected.
Yeah.
But to us, it's something. Oh shit! But no, that's just nature.
It's just part of it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's just the part of it all. Like that, it's just it very much feels like that a film crew from the outside world has come to the quarantine zone to film the nature and Natural Geographic environment of this land. And while it has beautiful flower fields and our beautiful rivers and lovely rocky mountains, it also has infected.
Yeah, you could definitely see like a 30-minute David Attenborough documentary on see how the infected run. They chase their prey. They spew vomit straight from their mouths. I completely understand what you're saying, that they are just a part of nature now. They are the leading predator within this world. They are the top of the food chain. It used to be humans and now it's infected. Like, we've gone one step above.
And then I actually thought this was one of the more thrilling moments, with Samson chasing after them in the train cart and just popping arrows in them. And
never, you know what, with these alphas, they never seem to go for headshots with the alphas. They're always going for hard shots.
Yeah, I don't know, like poor aim maybe.
Yeah,
maybe like
you can put it down to him because he's a kid. He's a bit nervous maybe, but I just felt like when Aaron Taylor Johnson as well earlier was like, "Oh, we've seen like 12 arrows be put into this." It's like, okay, let me see you do a headshot. Let me just see that.
Yeah,
let me see him walk around with an arrow in his head, or like goes into his head and he pulls it or like snaps it off, and he's still got the arrow head in his skull or something like that. I just really wanted to punctuate the the ferocity or the how strong they are.
But if Ralph Fiennes' character didn't come in, he would have died. Spike was a goner.
Oh yeah, because there's so many instances of that. Sure, it's the same in the petrol station with Eric.
Yeah, saved their lives.
Spike would have been dead multiple times.
Yeah,
he's saved by his dad, he's saved by his mom, he's saved by Eric, and he's saved by Ralph Fiennes' character. I can't think of Ralph Fiennes' character's name. Dr. K, maybe something beginning with a K.
Kenton.
Let's have a look.
Renton.
Let's have a look. Renton's another character in a Danny Boyle film. Ralph Fiennes' character's name is Dr. Ian Kelson.
First of all, I love that he not only got an actor with the caliber of Ralph Fiennes, that Ralph Fiennes is not above an IP like this, and that he didn't cast him as a generic soldier, military figure, someone like Christopher Eccleston in the first movie.
Absolutely. That was actually something that I mentioned to my dad as we were going to see this, because when you look at the other two films in this franchise, 28 Days and 28 Weeks, both casts are famous after the fact.
What do you mean?
So probably in that first film, Brendan Gleeson is the most famous person.
Him
at the time when it was made.
How big was Christopher Eccleston?
Not as big.
Okay, well then Brendan Gleeson.
Like, I think it was one of Cillian Murphy's first roles, within his first 5 to 10 roles. And then if you watch, and Naomi Harris is in that as well, and she's only kind of come up after that as well.
Yes.
Then you look at 28 Weeks later, and Jeremy Renner. I would, even though Jeremy Renner is famous now, I wouldn't have said he was as famous back then. This would have been before Avengers, before Bourne, before a lot of things.
Maybe it was before The Hurt Locker as well.
I think it was. As well as that, you've got Rose Byrne, you've got Idris Elba, you've got Imogen Poots. Like, there's a good few actors who are all famous now. Whereas in 28 years, we're coming into this, and a lot of the actors are famous actors now. It's not retrospective, it's not after the fact, because we have the likes of Aaron Taylor Johnson, Jodie Comer, Ralph Fiennes, Jack O'Connell. These are people that are famous now. We're coming into this with a star-studded cast. It's not an after the fact thing. So you're right. I agree with you that I'm glad that Ralph Fiennes is able to join this, and it's not. He doesn't come in as the generic bad guy, the general, the same way that Christopher Eccleston's character was.
I just very much thought he was going to play that type of character.
So did I. So when he comes in after saving them, and it's a bit of a soft voice. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, hello," do you know? And
The-
when
the-
Spike asks him about the monument essentially that he's built, and he's like, "I thought no one was ever going to ask me. I didn't think I'd ever see another person. I'd never be asked that question." So I did quite like even though he looked visually very gritty and very like harsh.
He looked like a serial killer.
Yeah, he's a very soft person, and like he's just doing what he wants to do.
You know, they foreshadowed it with him waving to the islanders, "Hello, do you want to
Yeah.
come down?" When he's burning hundreds of corpses,
Yeah.
as if it's just another Thursday to him. And the lads never went near him again. And
And he never went back to the community.
yeah, well, was he from the community?
He said,
He was from the community.
because your man Sam, the older fella,
Yeah.
told Spike that he was.
Okay.
He used to be the doctor within the community.
Okay, yes,
and
he was.
that's how
He
the-
was his GP.
the
Yeah,
lads knew.
I like the fact that what's a GP? He
Yeah.
was a doctor. But I thought about, I wonder if Dr. Kelson felt a little bit upset. I would have liked the company. You know, because he said, "Come on down." You know,
Yeah.
would you like a cup of tea? Like,
Yeah.
I'll go on.
Like, I think he didn't, like, all those hundreds of corpses, he didn't kill them.
No.
He just found them. Do you know, and yeah, from the perspective of the kids, what the fuck is he doing? This is crazy, do you know? And it's like, well, they're dead anyway.
Yeah.
Do you know? And he just wants to do this, like, monument, this artistic expression.
Bringing together the bones of those who lived lives. These
are people.
these eye sockets blinked. These
I quite like that. I
these
find
jaws.
that actually quite beautiful. These eye sockets saw. Yeah.
These jaws chewed, their throats swallowed.
Because you can, I think I do, not like dissociate, but like when you see a skull, you don't really kind of think like, oh, that was a life, do you know, that kind of way.
Well,
Like I don't.
well, fuck me, the capture of the emotion when Spike puts that skull on top of that monument.
Yeah,
I wasn't
because it even happened in that moment where they leave and he comes back and he brings the skull, and then he has it there, and I was like, that's her, that is his mom, and like because it's stripped away of the skin and
It's
her face,
it's stripped away of
hair.
Jodie Comer.
Yeah, it feels like it's not real almost, but
It's
yeah,
a prop now.
yeah, every single one of those skulls was a person with their own lives and their own thoughts and their own complex emotions, but it's stripped down to just the bone.
The emotional gut punch, it really got me actually. Like when
Yeah.
when
It's the climax of the film. It's
Yeah.
an emotional climax. It's
it's not a huge battle.
No.
It's not a killing spree. It's saying
Spike climbing this tower to give his mom the best view and make sure that she's facing the sunrise. How beautiful.
it was very beautiful. And when he puts the skull up, he puts her skull up. He puts her up there, and he kisses her, and he says, "I love you."
Right in the heart.
Right in the heart, man. And when Dr. Kelson says, "Pick a good spot for her,"
Yeah.
like you put Eric where you think is all right, you know, like but,
Right down the bottom.
yeah, just part of the collection. But that it really got me. I really do love that.
Yeah.
Danny Boyle really made something out of this, and while I thought maybe there's an off chance that Dr. Kelson is actually revealed to be a psycho serial killer.
I thought the same. I was like, I could very easily, and I'm glad they didn't, that it didn't just turn around.
Yeah.
And he was a sadistic serial killer, and he's like, no, I'm going to kill the baby as well, or something like that. Like, he could have easily turned heel.
Like,
But
he said,
no,
more collections for my temple.
Yeah.
But no, he thought, you have the baby, I'd imagine that's why you came to find me. No, I came here to find you, to treat my mother, help me what's
We
wrong.
actually have just met this baby.
Yeah.
We've known this baby 30 seconds longer than you do.
But he immediately offers his help. He doesn't, oh no, I don't do that anymore. Oh
I
no.
don't trust anyone. Yeah, he brings them right back to his where he lives.
Or no, we gotta let nature take its course. Whatever's happening. You know, trust in the temple and all that.
Yeah.
Go with temple.
He's not a fanatic or a cultist or anything
He is
like that.
a gentle human man who in his eyes is doing something nice. And he was doing something nice by shooting Spike with morphine, so he could be cradled with his mother one last time, and then he does what he thinks is the humane act to not let her die horribly, but to die peacefully.
Yeah.
And I think I would have probably had a shit attack if I saw this strange man come back with the skull of my mother.
Yeah.
But he took that with grace.
Yeah. I think...
Because the idea of seeing your mother walk down a path
And never come back.
And never come back. Mm-hmm. It's not a nice thing.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you've gone through this journey where the goal was to bring her to the doctor and you got there. And it's not like she died on the way there or anything like that. Like, it's just the limitations. And I think that's another aspect of the whole thing of the world has continued on outside of the UK. Mm-hmm. That she's diagnosed with cancer, and it's like, if we just weren't here, there's a possibility she could survive. We could get the treatment for her. But because we're here, there is no solution. There is no medicine for her.
Yeah. Like, the fact that there does exist treatment in the world is just...
No cures, but, like, treatment. Like, she could possibly be better, but just not here.
This did turn out to be a quest not to save his mother, but to say goodbye to his mother.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't go on this journey with Spike to be saved. She goes on to pass on, to die. And I just like the whole message of that. Like, the message, it's a heavy meaning. And I think it towers this movie as generic zombie movie.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think that in any aspect is it a generic any kind of film. Do you know, like I'm saying, the fact that it is an infected film and we have these action set pieces and gore and violence, and the climax is an emotional one like that. I'm
not comparing it to The Last of Us, but it's standing on its own pillar now, parallel to The Last of Us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's elevated in its own right. Like, you have The Last of Us over in the West, but as of now, as of this movie, this 28 days, weeks, years, the 28 later movies, it's elevated now beyond the zombie genre, and we ought to go back to that episode where we change favourite zombie movies and take that out, because I didn't throw The Last of Us in there. Or maybe I did, I can't remember. Go back, listen to it. But it was a good movie overall, and I'm glad that even though they had Samson make one last return, and I'm glad that we're done with Ray Fiennes, we can kill him now. With Samson, breaching in, barging in to kill him. I didn't need
that scene whatsoever.
No, I didn't need it. I was content with it without it.
Yeah.
And when Ray Fiennes says, "I think you better take the baby and go home now."
Yeah. I didn't even need him to say that. I would have been perfectly happy with, like, cut from the top of the tower to Spike's letter and just having him go back with the baby to the settlement.
I never wanted a journey to go so fast than the one with Spike and the baby.
Yeah, you don't want them to go... I want them to have the most boring journey ever.
I wanted it to be a hop, skip, and a jump, because Spike, on his own now, no adults around him, don't think he has much weapons.
No.
Carrying a baby in a basket. Back the way he came.
Yeah.
I'm happy for that to be off screen. Like, I was actually holding my breath. Please don't let anything happen. I don't want any more violence. I don't want any more obstacles. No more infected. Please just go back like it's just going down the road.
Yeah.
And thankfully we got that. He did leave the baby hanging on the tree branch just at the gate. Little questionable about that. I would have at least knocked and then run away. But this
well, you put it up a little bit high, so just in case if an infected had come, that they weren't going to immediately get the baby if he had left it on the doorstep.
Yeah. Jesus, I wouldn't want to imagine what would happen if that baby was born and Jodie Comer wasn't there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no.
Don't want to think about that. But before I forget it, I just want to say that Eric did call the infected zombies. Eric, the soldier.
He did, yeah.
He called it a zombie, and I like the fact that that's someone from the outside world, from our world.
Not the people within it.
Yeah. Just saying. Like, that was in the script, therefore Danny Boyle approved it.
Yeah.
But now we're in the
epilogue of this episode. So
the epilogue of this episode
of the film
as well.
What do you think of this? This is the wackiest part of the film. This is the most
well, first of all, right? Spike is not going back home.
No,
he's going on
staying out.
He's going on his solo journey to become a man, to find out and discover who he is. And I was waiting for some score from the original movie to come back into it, and it wasn't the one that I thought it was going to be. In a House in a Heartbeat. That's the one. That's the score that is played. The typical 28 theme.
When he's on the bridge, is it?
What do you mean?
When Cillian Murphy is on the bridge in the first one, when he's kind of wandering around London.
So that was the score that came on.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be the one that was at the end of the first one.
Okay, I don't know it off the top of my head.
Oh, it's the classic, iconic 28 Days Later theme. Like, if you look 28 Days Later theme,
I probably do know what that, yeah.
In a House in a Heartbeat, it's the one where he's going around on his killing spree. I think it's used a few times, and it's used in 28 Weeks Later as well. But it wasn't that was used here, and it was the one that was used with Cillian Murphy wandering around London, empty, and that was the score used in the epilogue here, and I liked it. It was more suited to it, because, okay, how are we going to end this movie? Because he's sitting here eating his fish, and here's an infected. Okay, he's going to get one off kill, and he's going to get a headshot. He's going to get the headshot he's always needed, and he does get it. And I thought it was going to cut to black. Nope, more infected come, and one of them stops and eats the fish that he was having. Yeah. So they don't just eat human or flesh or meat; they eat anything.
They're like looking to survive.
Yeah,
almost. Yeah.
And he gets chased by the infected, and I think, oh, where are we ending with this? How are we going to end this movie? How are we going to end this movie to make it complete, knowing there's a second part coming?
Yeah.
And he's blocked off by a bunch of rocks, and he gets another affected off. Okay, he kills it. But how are you going to end this movie in such a way to make it finite, to make a finale on it, to finalize this is chapter 1 closed?
Yeah.
And we can end it. And then we've already had our ending shot of Aaron Taylor Johnson when he reads the letter that his wife is dead, his son is gone, and he tried to go out to the sea and he can't go any further. And I'm curious to see what's going to happen to him and the role he plays.
Will he go after him?
Yeah. But what's happening here with Spike? Hello there. What did you make of Jack O'Connell's introduction?
First
of all, did you know he was going to be in it?
No, I didn't.
I did.
Okay, so
what a year this man's having.
What a year, yeah, with the Sinners and then this. But I did think, initially, in the prologue with Jimmy.
First of all,
I was
sorry, I know I said first of all again, but I thought actually, in watching this movie, that Aaron Taylor Johnson was Jimmy.
So did I. That's what I was going to say.
Jamie is same thing, right?
I thought it was going to...
No,
we cut from, because we go from Jimmy and then it says 28 years later, and then we're in the house with them. So I was like, okay, it's obviously him, and I was wondering when that was going to come back up again. But the fact that Jack O'Connell turned up, we see the cross and we're like, oh, okay, Jimmy, and they're all fucking dressed, and him and all his friends are dressed like Jimmy Savile. I'm like, what is going on here? Okay, so this is, now we're getting into a bit more of the wacky kind of Mad Max, cultish.
We're starting to see factions. The mainland inhabitants. We're starting to see those that maybe Aaron Taylor Johnson was afraid to cross paths with.
Yeah.
The fact that now Spike, his son, has crossed paths with them. It's probably the father's worst fear now.
And again, it's the time capsule of what England was like. These kids. Jimmy was watching Teletubbies, probably was watching Jim'll Fix It, and so the timeline that we're in, where we all found out who Jimmy Savile was and what he did, didn't happen for them. So in their mind, he was Jim'll fix it. You have a problem, Jim'll fix it. He'll be the one to do it. So that's who this Jimmy, Jack O'Connell, has become, the man that'll fix your problems, and he has become this what seems to be a cult leader and has all these other versions of them. I was watching the credits afterwards, and if you go, and it does cast in order of appearance, and it was Jack O'Connell and it was Jimmy whatever, and then all the rest of them were called Jimmy, but they all had little nicknames.
Jimmy Inc. and Jimina. Jim. Yeah, I love. Apparently there's 2 female actresses that are quite big enough that they're there in the crowd, but I couldn't spot them because of all the wigs they're wearing. One of them is she was one of the villains in Solo, big red curly hair.
Oh, I know.
She's one of them, and another one is from Mayor of Kingstown.
Okay.
She's a big enough actress, but obviously saved for a movie too.
Yeah. So this was a very wacky and gory, and
the music,
kind of
the music playing over the scene really solidified. Yeah, you're supposed to feel like this.
Yeah, it was out of pocket, and it was nearly glorifying the violence of it all, because they were it's the first time where any character has had fun with the infected. It's they were there, they were having fun killing them.
Yeah.
Which is just so out of sorts for this whole franchise.
That's one way to end a movie. And I noticed that they hung one of the infected upside down, similar to how that other infected. So that's them. The way they're dressed as well, it's I know they have dirty teeth and awful markings, but they're dressed as if they have showers every fortnight, and they iron their clothes or they go to the dry cleaners. It's off pocket, it's out of place, it's something you're not going to expect, And how are we supposed to take these? How are we supposed to perceive these new characters? And what's their role going forward? Who are these in 28 years later, part 2?
It's a good cliffhanger where you're wondering about the characters as opposed to the plot. You know, like, we're obviously going to see these again. Because normally it's a cliffhanger, it's a plot cliffhanger. It's like, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
It's like, who are these people? You know, that kind of way. Like, it's just a different type of plot.
I like
cliffhanger.
I like how he just walks into him and says, let's be pals. Cut to Black, directed by Danny Boyle, playing the 28 years later or 28 days later theme. Like, what the fuck? But I really like that ending, and I like that the callback. This movie started off with Jack O'Connell's character, with Jimmy.
He's the prologue and the epilogue.
Yeah, and he's gonna play a significant part in the next one. It's gonna be released in January. And
is it January?
Yes,
wow.
I swear to Christ, it's scheduled for January.
We'll probably be due a trailer soon.
But think about it. We've had so much fun watching this movie. We forgot that Cillian Murphy's supposed to be part of it.
Yeah.
And he's going to play a significant role in the second one. And
I think it's a minor role in the second one, a significant role in the third one.
Well, Danny Boyle said significant in the next one, but expansive one in the third one.
Okay, fair enough.
So I know it's going to grow and be bigger.
Yeah.
Like, I expect maybe Jim...
Yeah.
Who at this point is no more than just an average Joe.
Yeah.
In a movie where
what has he become since that?
Yeah, is he a cult leader himself? Is he a quiet man, a fisherman? Is he a farmer? What is he? Is he a family man? Like, is he going to be literally an average Joe? Is he going to be someone like what we'd expect Joel from The Last of Us, or is he going to be some messiah? Like, I don't know. But he's going to be a very great character with all these colourful characters in the foreground of this movie, and I just forgot that. Oh yeah, he's something to look forward to.
Yeah, he's something extra.
He's a bonus now at this point. Like when these movies were announced, all we could think about is, please bring back Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy, we know you won your Oscar, but please don't look at this franchise as beneath you. You got your career start in this movie. It's Danny Boyle coming back. You can return.
Yeah.
And we watch this movie, he's nowhere in it, and we're not feeling lost on it.
Yeah, we're not shaking our fists saying, why weren't you in it? It's perfectly enjoyable and fulfilling without him.
It's just a bonus to have him in the next one, even if it's just a little bit. I expect him to be in the next one just as much as Aaron Taylor Johnson was in this one. So that's what we have to look forward to now.
Yeah, and the fact that you said January, I'm very excited now.
Yeah. You know, I thought Charlie Hunnam was going to be cast in this movie.
Charlie Hunnam?
You know Charlie Hunnam?
I know of him, yeah. Why do you think that?
Because I thought him and Jodie Comer and Ray Fiennes were announced as... sorry, not Ray Fiennes, Cillian Murphy himself, I think. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe he was...
I've never heard of him. I never noticed. Or
I could see him playing Aaron Taylor Johnson's role, though, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, no, it's...
Yeah.
I just wanted to get on the record.
Yeah. Have you got any recommendations before we let these people go?
I am going to recommend Crazy Stupid Love.
Crazy Stupid Love. Wow. Real thematic. It goes well with...
I could recommend nothing. I could recommend nothing then, if that's what you
No, I'm joking. Go for it.
I just watched it for the first time, and this is a good old-fashioned early 2011 rom-com. Like, they don't make movies like this like they used to. These days, a rom-com has to be a genre in its own right, or it has to be raunchy.
Yeah.
And that wasn't this.
No.
So it was good. That's it.
The reveal in that is brilliant.
I knew it.
You knew it going into it, yeah.
I seen the scene.
Yeah.
And I understood the content.
It's a great scene.
It is a great scene. It's like the reaction is like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great reveal. It was. Have you a recommendation?
I'm going to recommend The Matrix Resurrections, which I watched last night, the fourth Matrix movie.
Really?
Yeah. I like the fourth Matrix movie.
Did
I
you?
remember liking it the first time, and I watched it last night, and I still like it. I think it's a really interesting commentary on legacy sequels and art as a form of expression, and the way that studios can get too involved sometimes with the art itself.
I think Drew Goddard's going to do one.
I don't think I'd want to see a Matrix movie that's not helmed by the Wachowskis.
Wachowskis.
Yeah, them either.
This was a long one.
This is a long one, so we'll let the people go. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Talking Pictures Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting app of choice. You can always leave us a little review on your podcasting app of choice, or you can leave us a rating. We'd very much appreciate it. As I was about to say, as always, but newly now, this episode is brought to you by Another Happy Studios, so make sure to check out the other podcasts in the network. That includes Still Got Legs, Doctor Who Rewatch Podcast, and The Fishing Trip Files, a Gavin and Stacey Rewatch Podcast. So we'll make sure to have the links to those, as well as our own social medias, down in the links below. Brian, any final words before we let people go?
28 years later was the 28th movie I've seen in the cinema this year.
That's that's a lot of coincidences. You know what?
You should have asked me, really? No. It was 27.
No. You know what? They skipped months.
No.
They did.
28 months later, that's just forcing a hand. That sounds stupid.
Yeah, but...
What do you mean skip
You could have seen this as an original trilogy of Days, Weeks, Months. And then this legacy sequel of years.
Well, unfortunately...
Or fortunately.
Well, they didn't make a sequel after
I know,
Weeks.
I'm just pointing out the fact they skipped months.
They should have made one a few years after and called it Months, but no.
And they should have done a prequel of 28 hours.
Oh, we're going into the seconds, minutes, hours now.
Yeah.
28 seconds, 28 minutes, 28 hours. Oh, Jesus. I'm tired. Let's call it quits.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks.